plywood. The 2x4s on the outside come exactly to the end. Okay? The next panel we built, the second type of panel, is a half. See, can you hold that? Eric, can you give?
Yeah, I got to take it. Yep.
If you just walk around a little bit, you'll be able to see how everything fits together. On a half panel, okay, you will notice on one side it's in. You'll notice it's set back 4 inches. What that means, all the vertical 2x4s are 93. The top piece and bottom piece are cut at 44. Okay, 3.5 inches for the 2x4 and a 1/2 inch for the plywood. If you put it together now, the panels easily fit together. Okay? The first panel we put up was a full, this is a half. And if you're working on flat ground, at the end of no matter how big your house is, if you're conscientious, the most you'll ever be off is 1/2 inch. Okay? You have to, because you're going, put 2x4s down and keep your spacing. Now, the other way to put a panel up, a half panel, is if you were turning the corner the opposite way. So we'll walk those two out.
Is it one of yours?
Probably this.
You want to go with this one?
No, the other, no, going around that way. And then the other side is 16. Back up 3 or 4 inches. Okay, if this was facing the opposite direction, okay, the full panel, you'll see it, and what we do is take a 2x8, 8 feet tall, and connect them that way. And when the 2x8 fits in, it fits in the gap between the two. We put some screws in, and it's as solid as a rock. When we put panels together, okay, we build everything with, 3-inch screws for the 2x4s, and 1 5/8 to attach the plywood to the 2x4s. When we put them up for the show, when we put panels together, we use 3/8-inch lag screws. Since most of you guys are home haunters and you don't have the luxury of, leaving it up all year like we do, thank God, we use something called setups, which was a 3/8-inch bolt by 3.5 inches long. We put a washer in facing the head of the bolt, slip the bolt through, a nut on the other end, use a socket to a washer on the other end of the 2x4, and then attach it with a nut and a deep socket. They fly right up. On these, when we were putting the show up and down, we would take 2 2x4s and pre-drill 16 inches from the top, 16 inches from the bottom, and they would fit perfect. We'll take this one and set it up here parallel. Doug, the half will turn around and make it parallel to this one that he's holding. The third panel, which Eric is holding up, is called the corner. Again, the 2x4s vertical are all 93. Okay? The top and bottom 2x4 are 40. Well, just flip it up. That's on the outside of the plate. Okay. the corner panel, if the plywood is on the opposite side, okay? Tony, can you help Eric move this in place? Right there, either one, see? Okay, when you put a corner on it, both sides have to be flush with the 2x4. And if you see this together, okay, if you turn the corner this way, again, everything lines up perfectly. And this was all done in study, all right. You know, like I said, I'd never built a thing. These are very easy to assemble, and they're taken down very easily. It's very, very easy to do, and they fly up. One day we put 104 panels up in one day, and we do not deal with even ground here. Okay. Any questions on this? You should ask one question. If we had another panel over here, what do? We build arches. And to be honest with you, I did not have time to produce one. I'm sorry about that. When you build the arch, you want to keep everything 4 feet. The code, fire code says 40 inches, but 48 inches is much better and it's much safer. And that's the way plywood's made. What we do is take a 2x8, 12 feet long, cut it at 5 feet, cut another piece at 4 feet, and cut 3 pieces at 11 inches. Attach one 11-inch piece at 5 feet on the inside of the line, attach it to the 5-foot piece, attach the bottom of that 11-inch piece to the 48-inch 2x4, then at the other end, the same thing, okay? Then put one in the middle for support. What happens is, when you go to lag it in, you can lag it in from the back, okay? And you will catch both panels, the one on the left and the one on the right, and it'll be solid as a rock. I mean, everything we have built, and we've had this up for, you know, many, many years. Since 2003, the last half of the show stays up. Not one thing has ever fallen down, no matter how severe the winds are, okay? And I'm really proud of that fact, because, you know, in Connecticut, there's been some pretty wicked storms. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Ethan?
Are you able to just drill vacuum forms right into the panels?
Yes. All this vacuum form comes from Nethercraft, and that's just put up with, Brian. Brian is the gentleman. Come on over, Brian. Come on. Get over here. Brian is the lead carpenter. He's the assistant general manager. Okay, all this vacuum form was done by Brian. Okay, once we got it, and Brian and I talked it over. Nethercraft, when they wanted to put the vacuum form up, said we should be notching out every other panel. And if you do that, you're wasting so much vacuum form, it's ridiculous. So what we put it together and we said, yeah, there's only a couple places that you see the seams stick together, but nobody's going to notice that at night. And we just knocked these right out. When Tomac called me, he said, you know, you're using a lot of corners. And I said, yeah, but I'm saving a lot of vacuum form. Instead of notching it up, we just do the whole sheets up. This is great stuff to work with, and it's realistic. And this has stayed out, what, Brian, 2 or 3 winters already? And we don't have any damage with it. Does that? What? Plastic. It comes in different rock sizes. It's expensive, very, very expensive. Tomac Nethercraft is the name of the company. You know what the most expensive part of vacuum form is? Shipping it. It costs a fortune. It's all crated up because it'll break and unbelievable. Any questions on anything? Now, this catacombs, the first building, is built with 2x6s. You know, I could have gotten away with 2x4s, but 2x6s made it more solid. I know I'm never going to have any problems with the building inspectors because it's solid. Okay?
The lights in it.
The corners have to match.
Let me tell you a quick story about this.
I can see the green
This is
light.
amazing.
Oh, right there. Shining off it.
They would not let me expand it any further. And we were in a real jam for time. These towers took forever to build. They made me change the plans on the steeples. They wanted them sunk in, not bolted down. So we had to drop them down 4 feet into the top piece. We got to the front. When you go inside, you see the columns. When the architect submitted the plans, the passageways were only 36 inches wide. And I knew that wasn't gonna last. We were out here till 2 or 3 in the morning. One of my friends knew somebody with, could dig things quick. And every one of these 48-inch by 18-inch pillars, concrete pillars sunk in the ground, okay, was totally lifted out and moved over a foot. And we did it all in one night. And I mean, talk about stress. This is the only house where we built from the back to the front. And you're praying it lines up. It's got to line up, and it did. So, again, all we did on this one was take the 2x6 dimensions. Same thing when you just change the dimensions from 2x4s to 2x6, and it worked well. Anybody have any questions? Yes? What? These are slightly different, yes. Yeah. There's so much strapping on these columns, you know that, what's the name of it? It's that thin metal strapping. This is X to death, you know. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you how long, you said it took quite a long time, how long did it take? Yeah. Start to finish?
The last couple of weeks, once we were building from the back, because we had to get permission, we knew we were gonna get it, but I didn't want to wait too long, so we started building. And to line it up, Will was here, it was like, Will was up top.
Oh, yeah, that must be great, those peaks are dropped about 4.5 feet. We got about a half-inch clearance all the way around, they can stand up there.
Sorry? Nethercraft. They did the girls' window. That material is very difficult to work with. We would go inside, there's stained glass inside, and I forgot the name of the company. They didn't want to sell it to me at first. And I said, well, I'm a dealer, here's my numbers, here's my resale licenses and everything else, and they finally sold it to me. Well, that's beautiful stuff, very expensive. I'm sure going overtime, correct? Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions? Where's my, okay. Where's Chris?